Let's bring in the Hill's Julia Manchester now. Julia, President Trump obviously has been indicted now for a fourth time. Will this specific indictment, or the fact that he now faces 4 criminal cases, have any impact on his campaign or his standing with voters?
Yeah, good morning, Marky. If we look towards the past 3 indictments and we, compare it to this one, I think we can say that this will likely galvanize Republican voters. We have seen an uptick in fundraising for President Trump since he was indicted during the first 3 legal cases he was facing. And we've also seen him retain and in many cases grow his lead in Republican primary polls. Now, that's for the main reason that a number of Republican primary voters, or generally GOP primary voters, believe that Donald Trump is the victim of some kind of political persecution from the legal system in this country. So in their minds, and in Donald Trump's mind, his allies' mind, they are saying that this is essentially, once again, another jurisdiction targeting him for political purposes.
Yeah, and to that point, and to just piggyback off the point that you just made, what do you make of the timing of all of this, Julia? Because it seems odd that a former president and current 2024 candidate starts getting serially indicted a mere 4 months after he announces his new campaign for allegations dating back to 2016 and then 2020. Does it read to you or to voters that state and federal prosecutors maybe held these indictments in their back pocket, waiting to see if he'd run again?
Well, a lot of these state and federal prosecutors would say that they had to let these investigations play out. And they've actually been pushing for, these trials, these court proceedings to really play out and take their time, while you have the Trump team really pushing to have, or you have these, prosecutors and courts wanting these to be wrapped up before the election, where you have the Trump team to want these be stretched out, if you will, potentially, and not, wrapped up as quickly. But look, I think you will hear the Trump team and Republicans, allies of the former president, point to that timing and use that as an explanation to voters to say, hey, look, here's President Trump facing all of these charges before this major election. We argue that it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, for sure. I want to play one piece of sound. As you know, Julia, we had that town hall last night with Vivek Ramaswamy, one of his primary opponents, and he tried to turn the indictments against the former president into an issue of national unity, actually, during his NewsNation town hall last night. Let's take a look, and I'll get your take on the other side.
We have to stand on the side of principle. We have to move forward as a country. I think if we remain a nation where whoever's in power is using police force against its political rivals, that's a dangerous downward slide for a nation.
So, Julia, did Ramaswamy successfully thread the needle on the indictment question? And what exactly is he doing here?
Yeah, you've seen a number of the GOP primary candidates try to thread that needle, trying to, address the issue of Trump being indicted a number of times, but at the same time broaden it, make it more of an issue, and make it an issue that, they potentially, as president, if elected, could address. Ramaswamy is unique in a way in how he's addressed this, because he's almost used these Trump indictments to his own advantage when it comes to publicity. I mean, I remember during the January 6th indictment a few weeks ago, Ramaswamy was in front of the courthouse, for example. He's given a number of TV interviews surrounding these indictments. He sued the Justice Department as well for more information. So it's something he seized upon.
Yeah, well, any of these Republican candidates who want any shot at even winning the primary are going to have to win over Trump's base to get them over that line. So I think it's a very sensitive topic and thing to navigate for a lot of these candidates. Julia Manchester, thanks as always.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.